everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to another board game breakfast. Now I'm thinking there's a good chance this is running late because I think I forgot to bring my portable hard drive with me here to Germany, but I'll get it up as soon as possible. So welcome to Tuesday board game breakfast, I think. But you know what? We're really glad you're here. I'm here at the largest fair in the world, the Essen Spiel, the largest board game fair in the world, the Essen Spiel 2018. I'm here before it's opening. That's why you're not seeing crowds behind me. But this week we have so many cool things for you. Really, guys, I have seen so many new and interesting games and we can't wait to tell you about all of them. So there's a lot going on. Now, yesterday, Derek did the live Q&A. I might do a live Q&A today, so keep an eye out for that. But we're gonna be doing a live unboxing. We're gonna show you all the stuff we brought back with us from Essen. Our stuff from Essen comes in 2 waves. We ship a whole pallet worth of stuff, but we try to bring the hottest games back so we can record them earlier, so you'll be able to see those later today, us doing that. So that's some stuff that you get to see coming up today. But for now, let's get to the news. Okay, so Jason's here joining me for the news. Let's find out what's happening in the news world. First of all, Z-Man has announced a new game called Meowie. It's even pronounced Meowie because it's about cats fishing. It's a Fiduti game.
Meow.
Okay, yay. Where they're like you're trying to play the card and go deepest, but I think if you go more shallow, you get your stuff first. One of those kind of games. Scythe. Jamie Stegmaier has the last expansion for Scythe. I don't know, but it's metal miniatures, so you can now buy. I guess I'm really happy with the plastic ones. But some people are gonna really like metal. I know that some people think metal is easier to paint and stuff.
It is easier to paint.
Well, you don't really like Scythe, so it's not a good question. You should like Scythe.
I do like Scythe.
Osprey Games has a new game coming out called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. It's a magic game based on a book that was turned into a BB series in 2015. I never saw it. Did you?
No.
I'm gonna go watch it now because it sounds interesting about like the Napoleonic era where there's magic. It's a card game for 2 to 4 players. All right, Portal announced a whole pile of stuff. Okay, so first of all, a new expansion for Alien Artifacts, Breakthrough.
Nice.
More cards, more stuff. An expansion for 51st State called Allies.
Ooh.
More cards, more stuff. An expansion for Robinson Crusoe.
Yes.
Mystery Tales. Now this is going to include that one campaign they talked about a while ago, The Lost City of Z. It's going to have 300 more cards, 5 scenarios for the campaign, 2 more regular scenarios. It's going to introduce sanity, so there's like some Cthulhu type stuff in it. So if you like Robinson Crusoe, this is going to add a lot of stuff. Tom
might win a second game.
Stronghold Undead. This is a new expansion for the game Stronghold, but it's a standalone expansion, and this is the necromancers attacking the city. And LA Crimes. This is an expansion for Detective. So you know, Detective was
set in Poland.
Well, was it set in Poland?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this one is definitely set in LA, and it's going to have 3 cases in it, and there's new things like stakeouts and observations.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
And finally, there's some loot box with some promos that you'll be able to order from Ignacy and get. You can order it on November 1st. Let's see, Destiny, Star Wars Destiny. There's a new expansion coming out but they reached their first rotation in tournament play. So the very first expansion is no longer going to be legal. So that's interesting. Not like you play tournament play.
No.
Here's a piece of news I wasn't expecting. Mice and Mystics is in talks, or the folks who make Mice and Mystics are in talks with DreamWorks to make a movie.
Live action or animated?
It's about mice. How can it be live action? Well, I guess it could be nowadays, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything has been. They're in talks. I mean, who knows? We're still waiting for the Catan movie. Legendary, there's a new small expansion for Legendary, Venom, coming out in February. I'm surprised it's not coming out now, but whatever. Asmodee bought Blackfire Games. Blackfire makes a lot of different things here in Europe. They make some really cool dice towers.
I love Blackfire Games.
But they do a lot of stuff, okay? There's a lot of things. I don't think they're any one specific company. And then finally, it's now available. You can go purchase Axis and Allies Zombies. What? I saw this at Gen Con, or Origins, I guess. It looks like it's, I don't know. It looks still kind of big and not the kind of game that I'm as interested in these days. But hey, zombies and Axis allies. I'm sure there's a lot more news that's been announced here, but for now, let's go to the bigger side of things, Kickstarter. Here we go.
Hello fellow gamers, so this week I have some big box expansions that I'm going to talk about, but I'm only going to highlight that after I go through the main Kickstarters. Now the reason why I don't talk a lot about expansions is specifically because I feel like if you have the base game, you already know whether or not you're going to be purchasing an expansion for this game. As well as maybe some people might come in to buy the base game and they've already seen it, they already kind of know what it's about, but they just need to be notified that this is now available, okay? So we're going to highlight those at the end, and other than that, let's get started. First up, we have Monumental by Funforge. This is a modular board game for 1 to 4 warlords wanting to build up civilizations over the classic, medieval, modern, and industrial age, using deck building and a clever cross-tapping mechanic for choosing which resources you'll receive. This game plays in 60 to 90 minutes, and I really like how the company gave you options for minis at $103 or without for $74. Also note that this particular game won't be available in retail stores after the campaign, and they do have a note as to why that is at the bottom of this page. However, if you'd rather do a little magical cage fighting, then maybe you should take a look at Zero Gravity by District Games. This is a miniatures game for 2 to 4 team leaders looking to battle it out in this 3D arena that challenges you to think about how to defend your flag in a 3-dimensional plane, as players will lead a unique team into battle and then try to collect the most cheers for 25 to 60 minutes. This game costs $90, and it really reminds me of a sort of 3D chess game where you're having to pay super close attention to where your enemies are located at all times. Now, for our cutes for the day, we have Skulk Hollow by Pencil First Games. This is for 2 forest dwellers looking to protect their home in this asymmetric game that pits village foxes against a forest guardian in this 40-minute hand management game that battles not just on the board, but also over the guardian's body too, which I love as you get this thematic element of seeing the foxes climb up the guardian to fight him. Now this game runs for $39 and has some of the cutest fox art I have ever seen. Now on to the expansions for the week. Our first expansion is Alhambra by Queen Games. This is going to offer you 2 new expansions, letting you choose whether you want the small tiles or the mega box tiles, which is really cool. They're also offering the mega box and designers editions. Now, keep in mind on this Kickstarter that the Designers Edition and the Mega Box and then the Designers expansions that they're going to release are exclusive to this campaign only and will not be available for retail. They also have a 3rd expansion that will become available or unlocked at the bottom portion of this campaign. I believe they're almost there for that. Next up, we have The Edge Downfall version 1.6. by Awaken Realms. Now this expansion is also updating some of the base cards for the game as well as giving you a chance to purchase the game as a bundle for $244. Now that might sound steep, but this game has a ton of cool minis and pieces to it and is just a monster box full of goodies, as well as they're giving you new factions. I mean, this is a great time to pick this particular game up if it's something that you wanted. Next up, we have Street Masters Aftershock by Blacklist Games. Now, this expansion is going to give you 4 new fighters, 2 new enemies, along with a bunch of loot cards and 2 new ways to play the game with missions and showdowns. Packages for the base game or the new game or both together are available. And you can actually update just your cards for $1, which I thought was really cool because there was a couple of tweaks that they had to do on the cards for this game. But if you're interested in any of the expansions, make sure to check them out right now. Other than that, thanks so much for joining me this week. If you want to hear more about all of these Kickstarters that I mentioned today, check me out at gloryhound.com as we do a whole 30-minute show called I'd Back That with Gloryhound, as we get in-depth into these Kickstarters and let you know how we feel about these games. And it's not just me, it's a couple of other people, so you get a good varied group of people that give you a really great opinion on what they like and what they've seen in these Kickstarters. Other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome week. We'll see you next week.
You know, sometimes you don't want to play a war game that lasts 50 hours. Now you're saying 50 hours, Dan? You crazy? Look at Twilight Imperium. 8 hours. For us, in 8 hours, we're still reading the rulebook. Sometimes you have nobody to play with, so you play a smaller game from a small company. And this is great for people who want to try war games and not fork out $100. High-flying dice game, Depths of Courage, the attack on Gibraltar Harbor, September 1941. This is a solitaire game on a mini submarine, and the mini submarine is called Mayale, which means pig. How cute is that? This game is very simple. This game takes about half an hour to play. The way you start the game is you take your 3 mini subs and you put it on section A of the map board. Then you choose a transport and a patrol naval unit. You roll a die, place it where the dice roll number is on the map. Now, going through the sequence of play, you either move or not move your mini sub, add or subtract dice roll modifiers, draw cards, see if the cards are higher or lower than a certain number. A certain action will happen because of that, and you start your next turn. And during these turns, you might go through combat. If you go through combat, basically this mini sub is just a torpedo, so you're allowed a one-shot deal. Certain events make it that you might be able to use it again, but that is if you haven't blown yourself up. What's great about small companies like High-Flying Dice Games and games like Depths of Courage is that they don't have a big overhead. So the games are inexpensive, savings are passed on to you, subjects are very interesting because Paul is a retired history teacher, making for some fun gaming and a bit of historicity. I like that word. There's a sister game to Depths of Courage, and it's called The Attack on Algeciras Harbor, December 1942 to July 1943. Plus, this game offers you a campaign mode. Depths of Courage, The Attack on Gibraltar Harbor, and The Attack on Algeciras Harbor is a game designed by Paul Rohrbaugh, published by High-Flying Dice Games. Thank you for watching. If you want to know more about war games, please check out my channel, No Enemies Here, Wargaming News. See you next week.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment, From the Page to the Table. I'm finishing up my month-long segment and feature here on spooky games and spooky books to get you in the Halloween mood. So you're probably going, Jen, there's one thing you've missed. And of course you're thinking it's H.P. Lovecraft. And of course you'd be correct. So the problem is, which in here do I pick to highlight? I'm not going to do a whole month on H.P. Lovecraft because that would just be silly. But what did I pick? I picked Shadow over Innsmouth. So being a New Englander, you kind of get it of sorts. You kind of get this backwater New England coastal town that Lovecraft was so familiar with and does such a great job capturing here. You know, just a town in its former glory and the creepy things that are going on in here. There's a lot of tension, a lot of spooky things that are going on. And we love the creatures that are in here too. Matt and I call them the fish people. I know it's not their real name, but it is so familiar, and we just love that one. We recently got Mansions of Madness 2nd edition after much hemming and hawing. We had been one of those poor unfortunate souls who had had Mansions 1st edition, and I love it when we're surprised and when we're wrong too, because Mansions of Madness 2nd edition is phenomenal. It's outstanding. And one of the reasons that it is so outstanding is because it has a couple of scenarios in the base box that are very Innsmouth related. So we're capturing the same feeling. We have excellent miniatures to really give us, you know, a visualization of the Innsmouth folk. And, you know, you have that same tension and horror that our main character feels as he's traveling throughout Innsmouth. That's all for our spooky series. Enjoy your Halloween. See you next week.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, actually, I don't know all the reviews that I'm going to be doing. I know a few of the reviews that are going to be coming out, but we're gonna make this more of a spoiler type week. So some of the stuff that we played here at Essen, we'll talk about some older games that I played before I got to Essen. There's one game this week that I love, and I'll be talking about it. I'm so excited about this one of my favorite games of the year. So you have that to look forward to. Also, we'll be hopefully putting up the podcast that we recorded at Essen. So we do a live show there every year. So you'll find on our audio Dice Tower podcast. And of course, we have all the other podcasts in the Dice Tower Network. So check them out at dicetowernetwork.com. Oh, and another top 10 in our top 100 games of all time. I think we're in the top half of it now. So as we count down towards that elusive top 10 games, we'll have to wait and see. All right, let's keep moving.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple Mansions of Madness. If you want an example of a game that successfully melds an app to the game, look no further than this one. Now, the first edition of this game was fiddly, to say the least, and it's the person doing the sort of like the DM aspect of the game. Let's face it, it was usually somebody who owned the game, and they never got a chance to play an investigator. Thanks to second edition and the app, everybody gets to play the investigators. Now, there are some scenarios that are more scary or creepy than others, and some of them, there's one in particular I think is kind of hilarious. And I gotta tell you, some of the deaths of the NPCs are downright funny. I mean, we're talking something out of the Final Destination franchise. Also, some of the insanity conditions that you could get can lend itself to some pretty humorous gameplay. For example, there's one condition that if you get it, that particular player is not allowed to talk at all. They can't utter a word. And it's really funny to see how they play the game from that point forward. So as far as atmosphere, theme, gameplay, just having fun, I don't think you can get any better than Mansions of Madness. Now, this month you've seen 5 of my favorite horror-themed board games, but if you go to the Mega Meeple YouTube channel, I have my top 10. So there's 5 other games that I talk about there. So if you want to see that, just go to the link, so go check that out. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and have a happy and safe Halloween.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. Today I want to talk about a game called Discover Lands Unknown. This is a game that can be played solo, although I played it first as a 3-player game. It's a exploration and survival game, and it's a new line in what Fantasy Flight is calling unique games. The idea behind this is that this copy of Discover that I have is going to be unlike anybody else's copy out there. It's procedurally generated by a computer so that no 2 games are exactly alike. Although the core mechanisms and the core experience is the same, there are going to be some things that make it unique. So you have different environments, and you're going to have 2 out of, I think, 12 different environments. And there are a number of different characters, and you'll have, I believe it's 12 characters out of a pool of them, and different event cards and threat cards. And so the idea is that you've got this core experience where the mechanisms of the game are the same and the general conditions to play the game are the same, but no 2 games are going to be exactly alike. So it's a unique game. Now, at the end of my first game, I had some very good first impressions. I really enjoyed it. But immediately I thought this is going to be a very divisive game, just on its very nature. Anytime you do something new, you're going to be potentially alienating some people. And so I began to go online and read a little bit of the response to it, and sure enough, there have been some very, very strong negative reactions I've read. Things along the lines of, I don't want to feel like I have to buy multiple copies of a game to have the whole experience. Now, My personal opinion is that I don't have that issue at all. And I will tell you, I am very, very reluctant and avoid, quite honestly, collectible card games and even living card games. I don't particularly personally like that model because I feel like I'm just going down a rabbit hole. Now, I can't exactly tell you why yet. I haven't lived with the game long enough, but I don't get that feeling with this at all. I feel perfectly satisfied that I've got a complete experience here. Now, that being said, I'd love to go play a friend's copy that has some different environments and see what the differences are, but I don't feel like I don't have a complete experience here in the box. But I know there are going to be other people that have different opinions, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What does this model feel like to you? Does it feel like a cash grab, or does it just feel like a different way of bringing some uniqueness and innovation to the board gaming hobby? Let me know in the comments below. I'll love to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Hey, we're here at Essen Fair, and I thought for Ms. Thinks I'm just going to take you around and show you at a few of the booths and some sights and shots of the fair. So here we go.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. Each episode of By the Numbers, we look at a board game in America related topic. This week's topic, analysis paralysis. I was recently setting up a game of 5 Tribes to play with my lovely wife Rebecca, and I remembered back in the olden times when this game first came out, we were hesitant to get this game because we heard the horror stories of how much analysis paralysis 5 Tribes had. So I was looking out at the board that I set up, and I thought to myself, how many moves does the first player have to decide among on their first turn? So this here is the board I set up for us to play, and I did some math magic and calculated how many different moves the first player, which was Rebecca, to decide among on each of the tiles in the game. 1,182 moves. Your 5 tribes board may be different because there's a variable set of, obviously. So we have decided among ourselves, me and Rebecca, that we have a house guideline that we take a fairly quick move instead of looking at everything we possibly can do. So down in the comments, tell me what games give you the most analysis paralysis and how do you handle it? We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, Chris Renshaw here. It's Halloween time, which means the perfect time of year for us Cthulhu fans. Especially because 3rd edition of Arkham Horror is out or coming out or will be out by the time that you're listening to this. Fun fact, did you know that Arkham Horror was originally released in 1987, not by Fantasy Flight Games, by Chaosium, who is makers of the Call of Cthulhu RPG, which itself is pretty old, based originally around 1981, I believe. And it's actually, there's a reason it's persisted so long, and that is because it's actually a relatively easy system to run. It's also old school that it gets a little complicated in that there's a whole bunch of stats and numbers for everything. But the base mechanic itself is actually really easy. All you need to do is the keeper, instead of a GM, will call for, say, like a perception check, and the players use 2d10s or percentile dice, and they try and roll under their stat. So if your perception score is a 45, you just got to try and roll under a 45. So if you're looking for a good way to scare the pants off of yourself and do some investigating into the deep and the mythos and some of the crazy lunacy stuff that's out there, and you want a nice RPG that's good for that, definitely give Call of Cthulhu a shot from Chaosium. In fact, I've heard of people using scenarios from Arkham Horror, Mansions of Madness, etc. as RPG adventures in Call of Cthulhu. So those are some great ways of combining board games and RPGs to get some inspiration this Halloween season. Have you played Call of Cthulhu? What did you think about the game? Let me know down in the comments below. And make sure you follow me on social media, specifically our Facebook page, so you can notify when we go live and record Boards and Swords live. We've got a lot of fun times telling jokes and reading off news and making fun of each other and giving out free stuff. So I'll see you next time, and in the meantime, may all your hits be crits.
This is Gaming with the People, and I'm one. Peekaboo, peekaboo, peekaboo.
Welcome to Gaming with the People. We had to remove all the people so we could tell you about this game.
All the people are currently having a meltdown.
The people are currently unattended.
This is my favorite game.
And we're going to talk to you about a game called Scooby-Doo, Fright at the Fun Park.
Fright at the Fun Park. Is it Fright at the Fun Park?
Not at our house, it's just
Fun Park.
frightening.
So it's Clue with a Scooby-Doo skin. Instead of murder weapons and locations, you have colors and different structures you'd find at a fun park.
Yeah. It's fun. Lloyd really loves this game.
It's 2 to 4 players by Buffalo Games and Puzzles.
You either eliminate a structure or you eliminate a color, and then you get to check behind the door. So Lloyd loves this game. We play this often. He asks to play this often. He likes the monsters. He likes catching the monsters. He likes crossing things off on his board. Sometimes you play games because they look fun and strategic. Sometimes you play games because the components are cool. And sometimes you play games
because you have a 4-year-old
that loves this IP.
We'll give this game 2 thumbs up. And hit the subscribe button. Rub the remote in your eyeballs.
Happy breakfast, everybody, and I'm back from Essen with a few games, and I've played some of them. I haven't played all of them. I did, however, get to play Railroad Inc. I've got both versions for the expansions. I can say, even playing this on like the train on the way back from Essen to the airport, and that it worked because you could roll the dice into the box, and you're using the pens on the sort of pieces of paper, not paper, they're like laminated card. And it works, it's really good fun. I think there was some other great games there. One that really took me by surprise was Tang Garden. It starts off just a white board. It kind of looks like it could be good, but then as the game's going on, the tiles grow across, the beautiful coloured board sort of appears in front of you as it's growing, and it just looks stunning with sort of Carcassonne placement mechanics, but there's some card play and things, sets you're trying to get. Really good. And I'm excited to see when that one releases next year. And in the next few weeks, I'll let you know if I've played any of them and if they're any good. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Welcome to The Pitch.
There's this very cool designer. He makes really great games, and I would like to pitch a game to you.
Sure.
On the other hand, maybe we should let him pitch the game to you.
Oh, okay.
Meet Tim Powers.
Oh, wow. Hi, Tim. Hi, nice to meet you.
All right, so what games do you play? What are some of your favorite games?
I like tiling games.
Okay.
I like dice. I like any kind of game, really. I'm Dave usually.
Do you play any word games?
Yes, I love word games.
Do you like Scrabble more or Boggle more?
Boggle is the one where you stack it. Or
no, Boggle is the dice tray, and
I have
you find
played
all the
that a
words
lot.
you can.
I like Scrabble.
All right. So this is my classic. This is the Scrabble killer. This is paperback.
The Scrabble killer, I like that already.
Yes, it's a deck building word game where you write romance novels.
Oh my goodness.
So you have your own deck of letters. It's almost like your own bag of Scrabble tiles.
Okay.
And so you're deciding every hand you just draw cards, make the best word you can. You score it just like Scrabble, and that's how much money you have to buy letters to put in your deck.
Oh.
So you need to think about what letters you're buying, because you're going to try to, like, if you buy an X and a Z, it might be hard.
It's a lot of money, but very little words. Yeah.
These cards also have abilities on them.
Okay.
Based on, like, if this is the first letter, it has a bonus. And this card will give you extra cards next turn. So they have little bonuses on. So you need to think about both deck building strategically and then letter compatibility. Awesome. So, and then eventually you work your way up, you get your deck going strong enough so you score high enough to finish these novels. And the novels are how you win the game.
I'm the reader in the family, so you had me at words.
Yes. But he still has a chance because he can deck build.
Well, that's true. Yeah. But this is the kind of game that Dave never pitches to me. This is, this is something he keeps secret from me.
Oh, no. No, I'm not a big word game fan, so I made this kind of as a bridge.
Okay.
So Scrabble people really like this, and gamers, deck builders really like this. So it's
we would meet then. Yeah. I love it. It sounds great.
Okay.
It sounds really great.
All right. So that's a yes?
It is a 100% yes. Woohoo! Yeah, absolutely. Oh, wow.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Hello, my name's Dan and this is Cora, and we're here today to talk to you about games for young children. And today we're going to be talking about this game. What is it, Cora?
Bubbly Pop.
Bubbly Pop, yes. Something about popping bubbles. Bubbly Pop is an abstract puzzle game for 2 players. On your turn, you pick 2 bubbles from the central area to bring down into your own area. You're trying to make a line of 3 or more of the same colour bubbles, and once you do that, then those bubbles pop and you remove them from the board and put them in your score pile. Now, there's a basic and an advanced version of this game. In the advanced version, each bubble colour also has special powers that the players can use. However, Cora and I have only ever played the basic rules. It's because, well, they're easier, and she's only 6. So, Cora, what do you think about Bubbly Pop?
I like how you have to get 3 or more, and if you get loads, you're like, bubble, bubble, bubble. And I like how we see who won. We just put them in a stack,
yeah,
and whoever's got the biggest stack wins.
I like it too. It's very reminiscent of mobile phone games. Have you ever played any games on your iPad that are a bit like this? Right.
I played Farm Thing.
I'm not sure.
I have played one.
Candy Crush, I think, and Blitz, Bejeweled Blitz.
Yeah, I think I have played something kind of like that.
Yeah, it's not much
2
like...
games, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. So that's quite good. So it's quite a familiar mechanic, really. I like it. I had to give you help here and there, kind of pointing out some of the strategy and some things you could do.
I nearly won.
You nearly won, yeah, and you won last time we played, didn't you?
You won by 2 coins.
Oh, yeah.
2 bubbles.
Oh, yeah, 2 bubbles, baby. So we give Bubbly Pop 2 bubble popping thumbs up. Pop, 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 pop.
You know, sometimes I look at the shelves, and you look at the shelves, don't you? And you look and you think all the varieties of flavour that they have for different products, like it's whatever humans eat. And one of the main flavours I see is vanilla. I just think vanilla. Why? Can't you just be something interesting? I mean, fundamentally, the best flavour is mint choc chip, but not everybody likes mint choc chip. Nobody dislikes vanilla, really, because vanilla is synonymous with being just plain. Because vanilla in board gaming is farming, innit? It's trading in the Mediterranean. It's zombies. They're no one's favourite theme. They're no one's mint choc chip. But not many people hate vanilla. It's just vanilla. It's the same reason no one hates farming or hates the Mediterranean. I mean, I don't love zombies, but I don't hate zombies. It's just bland. I think that is why they're so prevalent in the board gaming world, because it's a safe bet, isn't it? There are some games I've played and I just thought, I don't know if I can play this theme over and over and over again. When a theme is narrow and specific, there's way more chance that it's going to appeal to less people. Now, I don't think that's a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. But I think that might be why we have so many games with just that bland theme. If I'm wrong, let me know. I'm often wrong. I'm not even really sure I made a point. It was really just a thought. But it was a thought I had long and hard enough to set up a camera and film. So it's just gotta be worth something.
And that's it for another board game breakfast. Folks, I am so glad that you came along and joined us for the ride. Many of you came up and said thank you for Board Game Breakfast, said you enjoyed the show at Essen itself. I hope you guys do continue to enjoy Board Game Breakfast. As always, I want to say a huge thank you to all my contributors who really do a fantastic job. If you like what they do in the show, make sure you mention it in the comments. I like what they do. That's why I have them on the show. Anyway, folks, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.